Good morning, my fellow Tottenham fans. How we all keeping after that dramatic late 94th minute winner over Brighton at the weekend? Let me know in the comment section below. Your boy is absolutely fantastic, so much so. I said after the 3 points, I'd treat myself to a nice little pamper evening for an hour where I went and put on a nice face mask, trimmed the beard, put some nice beard oil through it, and even booked myself in for a haircut on Wednesday. That's how good 3 points can make you feel. But the reason why we are here, of course, is to find out how our players on loan away from the club have got on this weekend. So let's get into it. Let's find out how they done. So we'll start with my boy Ashley Phillips, who was in action twice since the last loan report last Monday, and he was back in action for Plymouth on Tuesday evening in the FA Cup 4th round replay, starting on the right side of a back three, where he assisted Plymouth's only goal of the game and played 119 minutes before being substituted as Plymouth made one last roll of the dice. He was very unlucky on the night for Leeds opener as Wilfred Gnonto's powerful shot from the edge of the box went through his legs as he looked to close him down. He made up for that in his role for Plymouth's equaliser 12 minutes later. Whitaker whipped in a great free kick to the back post. Phillips with a well-timed run towards the back post showed his technique on the ball with a delightful cushion pass across the goal for Brendan Galloway to tap him from point blank range. Leeds then introduced Summerfield as the game went into extra time, and he gave Phillips a tough time midway through the first half of extra time as he ran at Phillips, driving him backwards before bending a fine effort into the top corner. If I am sort of being critical of Phillips there, I think personally he needs to get tighter, not make it so easy for him to cut in. But bear in mind, it was extra time, tired legs and all that. You sort of drop off a little bit, don't you? But in the Plymouth Live player ratings, they did give him a 7 out of 10, and they said he has really slotted in well to the role on the right side of Argyle's defensive trio under Ian Foster. It is easy to forget at times that the loan signing from Tottenham Hotspur is only aged 18, both in terms of his physical stature, but his composure in the thick of the action. He came up with a great assist for Brendan Galloway's Argyle equaliser. And after the game also is worth noting, as you can see on the right-hand side, he was one of Plymouth's 4 nominees for man of the match, which highlights how good he was overall on the night. While also grabbing 1 assist, he also made 5 clearances, 4 interceptions, and 2 tackles. Phillips was also back in action on Saturday, playing 77 minutes in Plymouth's 3-1 defeat away to Sunderland. And like midweek, should have really done better for Sunderland's third. Their player, similar to Somerville midweek, picked up the ball, drove at Phillips. He backed off, allowing to cut in and bend one into the far corner. Phillips got a 6 in Plymouth's player ratings, and here is what they had to say on his performance. The 18-year-old was one of 5 Plymouth Argyle players to be booked in the first half. Sunderland did a lot of their second half attacking down their left, the Pilgrims' right side, which made it a tough at times for Ashley Phillips. Now, it is worth noting that Ashley Phillips has played nearly every minute since he's joined on loan, which is exactly what we hope for when our loan players do go out to develop. And if we make Europe next year, which it is looking likely, I do think we'll need a much larger squad than what we currently have and able to sort of compete across all 4 competitions. And if Phillips continues to develop in the manner that he is, I think he will be one of the ones given the opportunity to sort of bolster our squad options heading into next season. Also, Alfie Devine did play in the same game as well. It's worth noting he was not in action for Plymouth versus Leeds during the week, as he is cup-tied after playing for Port Vale in the earlier rounds. But he was in the starting 11 on Saturday, also playing 77 minutes and coming off in a double substitution with Phillips as he struggled to get into the game. As you can see on the right-hand side, the 2 Spurs boys coming off at the exact same time. He got a 6 in the Plymouth Live player rating, saying he did not get too many opportunities to display what he is capable of going forward, but needed to find a way to get on the ball more. That said, he put in a good shift out of possession for the team, stepping up to the championship with Argyle after being on loan at Port Vale in League One for the first half of the season. Was always going to take a period of adjustment for the 19-year-old from Tottenham Hotspur. And look, it's worth saying that it is probably only his first off game he's had for Plymouth. And Sunderland are a good team. They're a very decent team in the championship right now performing. And it's always going to be a tough ask for Plymouth, who are battling to beat the relegation drop. But Alfie Devine has shown what he can do in recent weeks, like they sort of alluded to there. But maybe one learning curve for him is if his teammates can't find a way to get him into the game, maybe he needs to start dropping into other positions to pick up the ball, to get on it, to be able to affect the game and almost take the game by the scruff of the neck and drive Plymouth forward. Now, moving on to Josh Keeley, who made his sixth straight start for Parrott, completing 90 minutes and keeping a clean sheet as they beat Welling 3-0 in the FA Cup trophy to progress to the quarter-final. He came in for some praise after the game from Dean Brennan, who has been critical of him over the last 2 weeks, as I've reported, and he said, Josh made a fantastic save in the first half. He done brilliantly to come out and smother the one-on-one after what happened to him late last week. He showed great character. The young lad takes on board information and his attitude is spot on. It's so easy to buckle and wilt after his error late last week. He showed great character. The save he made was Schmeichel-esque. We worked on it with him this week. He has taken on board what we want from him, and we know we got a very good goalkeeper. He has amazing attributes. Now it's just about him limiting his errors. When he needed to make the save, he did. Absolutely great praise for Josh Keeley, who has come in for criticism the last 2 weeks. The week before that, he was beaten at his near post, which the manager wasn't too happy about. And last week, he came off his line when there was no need and got caught out, and it led to one of the goals as well, which the manager was not too happy about. But as you can see, even though he criticises the guy, he's very willing to praise him when he done well. Great things you want to hear about your young players out on loan, especially goalkeeper. Great character, pulling off some great saves, learning, taking all the information on board. And it's absolutely great to see that they're very keen on helping Josh Keeley progress, and they're not just using him for their own ambitions. It's a two-way street, which is absolutely brilliant to see. Now, moving on to Matthew Craig, who completed 90 minutes in Doncaster Rovers' 2-1 win over Tranmere Rovers. Craig had a role to play in their opener, picking up the ball in the halfway line, driving forward, giving the ball off to the winger who put a ball in the box and was dispatched by the Doncaster striker. Craig put in a decent display with 4 clearances, 1 interception, 1 tackle, and a 74% pass accuracy, 1 cross, and 1 key pass, which came on the 88th minute. Craig played a lovely through ball, and the striker really should have made it 3-1. Now, watching Craig for the under-21s, the likes of clearances, tackles, interceptions, and stuff like that, is exactly what I've seen him do for the under-21s. He's absolutely brilliant at it, and physicality, no problem to him whatsoever, well able to handle it. But where he was to improve, and it's an area where the Doncaster manager highlighted after his first game, where he wants to help Matthew Craig improve, is going forward in terms of, driving forward, assisting play, trying to get shots off, crosses into the box, adding assisting goals to his game, basically. And he done that in this game with the key pass, with that through ball right near the end, trying to put a cross in the box as well. And it's good to see that the manager is working with Matthew Craig to try and improve his game. And it's worth noting that Matthew Craig wasn't in the starting team for the last 2 games after being hauled off at half-time the week before that. So it's good to see him back in the Doncaster side and taking his opportunity in that regard. Now, on to my fellow countryman who is absolutely making a name for himself right now over in Holland, and he played another 90 minutes in Excelsior Rotterdam's 3-0 home defeat to FC Twente on a night where the scoreline doesn't actually really reflect how one-sided the game may look compared to the scoreline. It was just a poor night in front of goal for Excelsior. They had a lot of shots, couple of shots on target, the same as FC Twente, but FC Twente obviously took their chances and Excelsior didn't. But Parrott has now played 90 minutes in a row, and he is really making an impact after recovering from his abdominal surgery earlier on in the season. He was given a 7 match rating by SofaScore, one of Excelsior's better performers on the night, taking 3 shots, 1 on target, 1 off target, and 1 blocked, with 2 key passes and a passing accuracy of 87%. And as you can see here, there is a lot of interest in Troy Parrott at the minute. Now, Ali Gold reported earlier on in the week that there was a lot of interest from Serie A, the Championship, and a couple of Eredivisie clubs. But Irish publication, The 42, have gone one step further, releasing a publication over the weekend, basically saying that Tottenham star Troy Parrott has emerged as a target for some of the biggest clubs in the Netherlands. His 7 goals and performances for Excelsior have caught the eye of Holland's heavy hitters. Ajax, PSV, Feyenoord, and AZ Alkmaar are weighing up a move at the end of the season. Troy Parrott's contract at Spurs is until 2025, and there is understood to be an option with 1 more year extension on that can be triggered by the club. Now, he is 22 years of age. He's out in Holland, absolutely ripping it up at the minute, making a name for himself. Now, people would say, Dave, where's this form come from? In years gone by, he's been very, very unlucky with injuries, but it's also been the timing of the injuries Just when it looks like he's about to hit the ground running, gets his first goal, all of a sudden an injury comes around and sort of derails that. And I know a lot of fans at other clubs where he's been loaned, the likes of NK, Dons, Plymouth, they've all sort of said his all-round game is there, but it's the lack of goals that really stop him from really sort of hitting that top level. And he is adding that to his game this year at a decent league. Now, it is worth mentioning, he did have to say on his loan move heading out to Holland this summer that the way they play football in the Dutch league will suit him. And what he meant by that is, down in the lower divisions, sometimes it become long ball, rag and tag football, not his sort of football. He's not the biggest of guys. Troy Parrott is good with his movement. And going out to Holland, where it's total football, the Dutch way, they like to play it on the ground under this long ball. It's working to his favour. He's improved his movement. He's making the right runs, and they're able to find him, which is giving him the opportunities that maybe other clubs couldn't give him or put on a plate for him when he was on loan at other places. Me personally, I do think the club have a massive decision to make on this guy this summer. What do you do with him? Do you use the interest while it's at its peak to be able to cash in on him and get a good sort of transfer fee and look to reinvest that going forward? Or do you keep him around at Tottenham, commit yourself to his development, and play him in behind Richarlison next season as his sort of understudy? It is worth noting that until Tottenham do buy somebody, or if they end up buying someone, we don't know what the summer transfer plans are yet. But it looks like it will be Valise, Dane Scarlett, and Troy Parrott all battling out to be behind Richarlison. And for me, out of all three of them, I would say Troy Parrott is the most ready to be able to step in there. It is worth knowing that he can also play on the left and the right, and he has done for Ireland. So a massive, massive decision to be made on him this summer. Me personally, I would give him the preseason tour, give him the opportunity, see if he's good enough to make it at that level. But I do see maybe Tottenham cashing in on him this summer. Be very interesting to see what happens there. Now, moving on to Aleo Valise. He was not in the matchday squad for Sevilla today in their game, as he's still returning from his knee injury that he picked up at Tottenham Hotspur. So we will move on to the one and only Joe Rodon, who we have 2 games to report to you here on him this evening. Joe Rodon was back in action Tuesday night as Leeds made the trip to the South Coast as they beat Ashley Phillips, Plymouth Argyle 4-1 in the FA Ford Cup replay after extra time as they booked themselves a spot in the 5th round against Chelsea. And I will be rooting for Joe Rodon in that one. And he just continues to earn praise every time he takes the pitch for Leeds, getting a 7 in the Leeds live player ratings. And they had to say, not called upon a huge amount, but memorably made a big block in the first half when Plymouth were at their most dangerous. And it was a goal-saving block where he put his body on the line to block a close-range effort in the first half. On the night, he got a booking, but generally solid on the ball overall. He also played the full 90 minutes and kept the clean sheets in Leeds' 3-0 win over Rotherham on Saturday. Joe Rodon did pick up another 7 in the Leeds live player ratings, and they had to say a key role in the build-up to the first goal after stepping into midfield. Did not have much to do, but he swatted away a rare Rotherham cross in the 12 minutes. Perhaps it said it all that the frustrated striker Jordan Hugill resorted to an awful tackle on Joe Rodon on the day. So Joe Rodon continuing to pull trees up at Leeds. Now sticking with the Championship, and we do turn our attentions to Japhet Tanganga, who is on loan at Millwall, and he played his 3rd 90 minutes in a row for Millwall on the right side of a back three yesterday as they lost 2-1 away to Coventry. And it was an action-packed game for Tanganga, who went from hero to zero. Tanganga nearly helped Millwall take the leads inside 30 seconds with his long throw into the box, which was bouncing around and causing chaos before their goalkeeper saved it. And to be brutally honest, it's not something I knew Tanganga had in his locker, and if we did, why didn't we use it when he was playing? Then 4 minutes in, he was on the line when a shot hit the post, bounced off him, bounced back off the post before the keeper pounced on it. It was good defended by Japhet Tanganga. Some would say he's lucky, but he anticipated it by getting back and being on the line, so probably got the look that he deserved. But then on 65 minutes, as Millwall were leading 1-0 away from home in a relegation fight, Tanganga got himself in an entanglement in his penalty area, giving away a penalty in which Coventry equalised. And as you can see, that entanglement is the picture on the right-hand side. And then for Coventry's winner, the defence was badly exposed. Tanganga found himself in the middle, completely leaving the Coventry striker over on the right-hand side. You could see the other Millwall centre-back telling Tanganga to get over as they were all coming across in numbers. He didn't really take that warning, backed off him, allowed him to have the shot. Keeper should have done a lot better as well. It wasn't just Tanganga's fault, but It did allow him to slot home the winner and cost Millwall all 3 points again, with their manager not really digging Tanganga out, but sort of saying after the game it's individual errors in a 5-minute sort of period that really cost Millwall all 3 points, which is sad to see. Now on to Sergio Reguilon, and we have 2 games to report to you today. And he's starting in Brentford's 3-1 away defeat to Man City last Monday night. He put in a couple of crosses down the left-hand side on the night, which caused City some problems, and put in a fine performance, which was reminiscent of his early days at Spurs before he was taken off on the 79th minute. He done very well, making 4 tackles, 3 interceptions, 2 clearances, with his 64% pass accuracy, which against City is not bad. With Brentford's official Twitter account saying on his substitution, a very strong shift, a good recruit, an impressive full debut for Sergio Reguilon. Now, he also caused a little bit of a chuckle on social media during the week. Michael Owen wished his son James a happy 18th birthday. Sergio Reguilon put a quote in underneath, basically calling Michael Owen dad, insinuating that he does look like his son James. And when you actually look at the both of them, they're very, very similar in looks. Michael Owen absolutely loved the banter. And Reguilon also played 90 minutes in Brentford's 2-0 away win against Wolves over the weekend. And he had a major play to Parrott in Brentford's opener, delivering the corner that Norgard dispatched to put Brentford 1-0 up on the evening. And it is worth noting that Brentford are very, very happy with their new recruit. He seems to be absolutely dominating their social media pages right now. They cannot give enough praise on Sergio Reguilon, who was giving them a new outlet down that left-hand side, constantly whipping balls into the box and causing a nuisance for opposition teams. I wonder then, will Brentford maybe look to come back and take Sergio Reguilon off our hands heading into the new season, which would be ideal? Now, heading over to Turkey to see how Tangay Ndombele is doing, to see if he's cupped himself on or see if he's still dominating all the headlines for all the wrong reasons. But Ndombele did play the full 90 minutes in Galatasaray's 4-2 Turkish Cup win over Bandırmaspor, only for the second time this season that he's competed 90 minutes. That's absolutely unbelievable. He also played 10 minutes off the bench in Galatasaray's 2-0 win over Istanbul Başakşehir, having 5 touches and 1 shot in that 10-minute cameo. Ndombele has now made 22 appearances for Galatasaray, getting just 642 minutes across those games. And the 27-year-old was once again the subject of harsh comments from the Turkish media. This came after his performance in the cup game last Tuesday night. Galatasaray don't have a star in the French midfield. They have a problem. He finishes games without a sprint. He avoids tackles. He's absent in the fast breaks. And the more he plays, the worse he gets. Every minute Ndombele plays, he seems to be robbing Galatasaray youngsters of their future. Now, not exactly the comments that any Tottenham fan would want to hear, and I'm sure not exactly comments that Ndombele would want to hear, but it does look like we have a huge problem coming on our hands this summer. As I don't think Galatasaray will take up the option to buy him, as they are potentially looking at maybe taking the Celso off our hands instead, which leaves us with Tangay Ndombele. We know Postecoglou looks for character. He ain't going to get another chance this summer. What other club are going to want to try and take another gamble on a guy who has shown problems everywhere he's been? Not quite so sure. So interesting to see what we have to do with him this summer. Also worth noting that Eric Dyer played, I think, full 90 minutes for Bayern Munich in their 3-0 loss to Bayer Leverkusen, who they're actually chasing down for the title. Some things never change, eh? I even watched the game. Some moments that I do not miss. He's going to make a sort of pass, spray the ball around, bit Pirlo-esque, and he ends up putting it into the Bayern fans in the stand. Not very good at all. And then also Jed Spence was on the bench today for Genoa, which is very interesting after starting the last 3 games. And he's already had more minutes at Genoa than what he has had for Tottenham Hotspur. Guys, that's it from the Loan Report. If you do continue to enjoy these, please keep smashing the like button. Please keep sharing it out to fellow Spurs fans so we can keep them updated and informed. And I'll see you back here tomorrow. No fan show tonight, as it's my dad's birthday. And we will be over there having cake and that this evening. So the fan show will be Friday night again before the big game at the weekend. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on the likes of Troy Parrott, Tangay Ndombele. What do we do with them this summer? As always, come on, you Spurs. In the mighty hands we trust. We never stop. Let's go.